It looked like I was mad. People actually thought I was mad. I went back to the shop that he asked me to sit down. They were like, they don't know the person and stuff like. So I'm like, oh my goodness, have I just been jazzed? Like, is this how people get jazzed? Like, I was like, how? Like, why did I go and sit down in the shop? Like, what made me sit down? Like everything just clicked. I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe you just got jazzed. So I despised the instruction of my mom and I paid dearly for it. This is the story of how I think I got jazzed. I used to attend UNN back at home, which is the University of Nigeria, and it had 2 campuses. So I was in the medical campus in the city and my sister was in the other campus back in Nsukka. So what my mom would usually do is that in the middle of the semester, when our food items have finished or like they're about to finish, we would, we'll call her and then we'll tell her, oh mommy, our food is finished. Can you send us, food stuff from back home? Can you waybill stuff to us? And she would buy, like, basically, I don't know if you know, back at home, there's this bag, if I can find a picture of it, they used to pack charcoal, like that long bag. She'll buy like half of it, like she'll fill half of it with provisions, right? Like she'll buy like a carton of geisha, she'll buy, different things like stockfish, different things. She just put different things inside, right? Tomatoes, tin tomatoes, because we liked cooking spag a lot and stuff like that. So she sent that bag of provisions for us, and I could remember that was a Sunday when the waybill had arrived. Then she called me that Sunday morning and she told me that I should, when I'm going to get the waybill, I should go with somebody. That's what she said. I should go with somebody. I shouldn't go alone. But the other days when she had told us she used to send provisions for us, I used to go and collect provision by myself. Like I didn't used to go with anybody. Like it was just weird when she said, "Oh, go with." I just felt like she was doing her Nigerian mother's thing. I just felt like she was just being a mom, basically an African mom. When they're just being overly careful. So I was like, I beg, I'm not going to go with anybody. I'm going to go and get it by myself. I felt like it was going to be easy for me to move. Like if it's only one person, it's only me, I can move faster. Like if I'm with someone else, like, I have to drag the person along and stuff like that. So I was like, I beg, I'm going to, pick the waybill by myself. Straight from church, I went to the park to go get the waybill. So when I got to the park, I met this guy, not necessarily meet him. I didn't necessarily meet him, but then I walked past him. He was I think he was washing a car, like he was washing a commercial bus, a commercial vehicle. So I thought, okay, he was either the driver or, he was sure like someone who worked in the park. And so when I greeted him, I actually greeted him. I was like, good morning. And he responded. And I, went into the office to meet the guy that was with the package. And I wanted to collect the package. When I entered into the office, the guy who was washing the car came into the office as well. So I just thought, oh, they all knew each other, and all of that. And so after I greeted the guy, I told him my phone number, told him my name, and he looked at it. It was the same thing. Check the package. He was like, when I saw it was really big. It wasn't something I could carry. I had to go and look for someone who had a wheelbarrow to come help me pick it up. So before I left, I paid. You have to pay money. They tell you, pay 1,500 or pay 2,000, stuff like that. So I paid. When I brought up the money, I think it was 2K or so, to pay the guy, to give to the guy who cross-checked the waybill, who was in charge of the waybill. And the guy who I had greeted and followed me into the office took the money from my hand. I don't know, I didn't think anything about it. Like I just brushed it off. He took the money from my hand. That kind of thing where you're trying to give somebody something and then someone helps you. Someone collects it from me and helps you to give it. So I just thought he was being helpful, right? He collected the money from me and gave it to the other guy, gave it to the guy on seat. And I was like, okay, I didn't even think anything of it, right? I told the guy who I paid that he should please watch over the waybill. I'm coming. I need to go get a keke outside. A keke is like a tricycle, basically a tricycle outside that would help me, carry the food stuff. When I went outside to get the keke guy, the guy that entered into the office, the guy who I had greeted in the morning, the guy who I had greeted followed me out. So, he followed me out and told me, oh, he could help me look for a keke and stuff like that. I said, okay, no problem. So we both went out because I felt like, okay, he knew that area more than me because, I saw him there, I met him there. It looked like they were all, working with the same company. So I'm like, okay, this guy works in this park. Obviously he knows and he can help me get a good deal, right? Because I was also going to take job. It wasn't going to be the normal price I would pay because this keke is only going to be carrying, like he's only going to be carrying me as the passenger. So I'm going to obviously have to pay higher. So I'm like, okay, the guy is like, oh, he can help me get a keke that will, and get me a good deal. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So we both walk out of the office and we go out of the park and we're just walking, we come out of the park come out of the park and they were just walking down. And he's like, we're trying to price, like bargain, and they were not giving us a good price. I was getting really tired. And then he just said, okay, he said, oh, I should sit down in this particular. He took me inside, like out of the main road, like we went inside, and he was like, oh, I should sit down in this particular shop, and that he's going to go and call a keke for me and stuff like that. So I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it. It was like, I wasn't even thinking for myself. And so I sat down, I went inside the shop and I sat down and I waited. When it was like 20 minutes, like no, actually when it was like 10 minutes past, I was like, what's going on? Because I thought when the shop he asked me to sit down in, the people there actually, like, they knew him. So when he asked me to sit down, so I didn't like, it didn't flag, like I didn't flag it, right? It didn't flag in my mind. So I sat down and then he was like, oh, he's coming back. So he went to look for a keke. After 10 minutes, I didn't see the guy. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then the people in the shop started asking, oh, like, isn't he coming back and stuff like that? I'm like, I don't know. So I just stood up and I'm like, okay, maybe he had left or something. And so I went to look for a keke by myself. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. So I went to call a keke. I found a keke who had, I bargained a reasonable price with me. I think 500 naira. So, and then I went into the office, went back into the waybill to pick up my waybill. And then when I got there, I was like, oh, I went and greeted the guy. I was like, oh, I'm here to pick up the waybill. I found a keke now. So the guy was like, haven't you already collected your waybill? I'm like, no. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? And he's like, but the guy that you came in with, the guy that both of you were together, your friend, he came and said you asked him to, he came with a wheelbarrow and said you asked him to, bring out the waybill that your keke is in front. I'm like, who? Who, please? Right? And he's like, the guy that both of you came in. I'm like, I don't know that person. Isn't like I thought he was working for you people. Like, I've never seen that guy before. I just met him. I greeted him outside, and he came. He was like, but he helped you pay. You look at it now. The way the guy came in, like he like looking at the whole scenario. It was like both of us were together because we came in. As I entered the office, he came in, and when I wanted to pay, he collected the money, and so the guy who was in charge of the waybill thought, oh, these two people were together and stuff like that. Even when I was going out to go look for keke, the guy was like, oh, he's going to help me look for keke. So obviously, it didn't flag. There was no like. It looked like we actually came together and we were friends. So when I was like, oh my goodness, like I realized what had happened. Like I couldn't even believe it. Like I was like, what just happened? And my mom, usually she would put like money as well inside the waybill, right? So I'm like, oh my goodness, I couldn't even tell my mom. Like I didn't know what to do at that point. I started panicking because I was coming straight from church. I was still in my heels. I didn't even go back home. I was still in my heels. Well, I just pulled. After I just went around, I asked like, do you know this person? He was in an army, like a camouflage, right? The army camouflage, the shirt. And they were like, no, they've never seen this person before. They don't know anybody like that, blah, blah, blah. The person who was in charge of the said he doesn't know the guy. He's never seen the guy before. I'm like, what's going on? I went back to the shop that he asked me to sit down. They were like, they don't know the person and stuff like. So I'm like, oh my goodness, have I just been jazzed? Like, is this how people get jazzed? Like, I was like, how? Like, why did I go and sit down in the shop? Like, what made me sit down? Like everything just clicked. I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe you just got jazzed. Like, I didn't believe it. Like, the reason why the whole story is so funny to me, not funny, but when at that point, I couldn't believe it. I pulled off my heels. That park was a huge park. I forgot the name of the park. I think it's Azin One Park or Azin something park. Yeah. Like, I pulled off my heels. And in Enugu, the soil is red. I started walking all about. I started speaking in tongues. Because I knew like the quantity of what my mom had sent. I couldn't call her to tell her that, this is what had happened. Because if you think about when after the whole thing, when I thought about it, she had told me, she had given me an instruction, that I just passed off as, she was just being the African mom. She had given me an instruction to go with someone. She said, go with someone when you're going to, this is the first time she had ever said that. Like, so it didn't really, like, I didn't really think anything about it. But I was like, oh, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do, right? Like, as usual, I'm just going to pick it up by myself. Like, I don't need anybody to come with me to pick up waybill. It's just to pick up waybill. But then, when I thought about it, this woman had told me to go with somebody. So if I had gone with someone if I had gone with someone, the person would have waited for me in the office, like where the waybill was. I would have gone out to look for a keke, right? And then brought the keke back, and then two of us would have carried the stuff into the keke. Do you get? But now I had despised the instruction that my mother gave me. Right? And now, the waybill was lost. I went into the other part of the market. It looked like I was mad. People actually thought I was mad. Because, there were people selling recharge cards. There was even a restaurant around. When they saw me with my heels on my hand, and I was like, my mouth was moving because I was muttering tongues, and I was like, just walking up. I didn't know what to do. I just burst out in tongues. I didn't know what to do. So it looked like I was mad, right? So there was a girl selling recharge cards. She called me by the side. No. It was actually a guy. He called me by the side and said, he was like, are you okay? He was looking at me like, is everything fine? So I told him what had happened. It was really getting late. This was like getting to like, I got there like around 4 p.m. in the afternoon. This was like 7, 8 p.m. So I had been walking and speaking in tongues for about like 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, going around looking for. So I was like, when the guy called me aside, he was like, is everything fine? I told him what happened. He said, let me just advise you. And I was with my phone on my hand. He was like, let me just advise you. This park is not safe. Especially like by this time. And the way you're walking looks as if you're not alright. People are thinking, someone could easily take advantage of you. So he was like, I would advise you to just go home. Right? And then come back tomorrow and, come and continue your search when the day is bright. I didn't even, listen to what the guy was saying. Another lady who was selling recharge card by the side. And, she called me over and she was looking at me. She was like, are you okay? Auntie, are you okay? Is everything fine, And I was like, I told her what had happened. She was like, auntie, it's not safe. The way, like, all these drivers like this, all these people that are looking at here, people in the bus, people who are about to board, it's not all of them that are here to use this, that are here to travel. You're with your phone, I should just go home. Like, it's getting late. I said, okay. 2 people had already told me about it. And I'm not about to disobey another instruction. I cried. I called my roommate, actually. When it happened, I remember when it happened, and when the guy told me that, the other guy had come to pick up the waybill, I called my roommate. I cried. I didn't even know what to do. My roommate that I was supposed to go with, right? I didn't know what to do. And then I called my sister. I told my sister what had happened. She was like, we cannot tell mommy this one. I said, I cannot tell her. This is a secret I'm going to take to my grave. Right? Even my sister, like, she knew we couldn't tell her mom. Like, I just couldn't bring myself to tell my mom, like, because I knew how much those things would have cost her to get. Plus the money that I knew she'd have put money inside. Plus the money that she'd have put inside. And the stuff was for my sister and I. So I would usually take mine and then, she would come to Enugu. She would come to Enugu and then come and collect her own share, or I would waybill her own share back to her, right? So we couldn't tell our mom what had happened because it was just so heartbreaking. Like, I didn't buy it yet. I was feeling this heartbroken. I just couldn't tell her. So, the people I had inquired from said, oh, maybe the guy must have, gone to sell it in the market or something, to get the money back and things like that. I should just forget it. I won't find it. There's no prayer I did not pray. Right? But, the whole, moral lesson of it is that really shook me. I also think like, I think it shook my faith a little bit as well. Cause I felt like, how can I get jazzed? The Holy Spirit is living inside of me. How can I get jazzed? Do you get? Like, I was like up until that point, I had been sure that like, all this juju, all this jazz, that people will enter into boats, they will go in and then they will do juju on them. I had been sure it can never be me. Do you get? I have the living God on the inside of me. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness. So imagine that happening, and I went back and I had to just I couldn't believe it. I really, really could not believe it. But that also really taught me that there is a reason why your parents are your parents. Things that you can't sense, even though sometimes they can be like you can think that they can be overboard actually. But I think I wasn't thinking about it. I think I wasn't sensitive enough at that time. Like, I think I wasn't sensitive enough. If not, I would have followed that instruction. I think I really wasn't sensitive at that point in time. And that's why I missed that instruction. Because if I had followed that instruction, all this would have been avoided. Basically, all this would have been avoided. Had I followed the instruction my mother gave me, go with someone to the park, this would not have happened, right? I would not have gotten jazzed. So, alright, so see you guys, whatever that content is. Bye.